Hello, happy Leo season. Happy birthday to all you beautiful Leo people. We all love you so much. I have a presentation for you all about this gorgeous energy that is life-giving and which we all possess. It's not just Leo sun people. We all have this energy and our lives revolve around it, and it literally gives us life. So here we go. I'm really excited to share this with you today. All right. Here we go. All right. So, Leo, we're at the height of the summer season right now, and then we know that the heat is going to start to wane. This is like the all eyes on me time, and so I wanted to create a vibe that like matched that energy for you. And here we go. So the planetary ruler of Leo is the sun, right? So it's that all eyes on me. Everybody's revolving around the sun. But the sun exists to shine for us. Like a star out in space with no planets is lonely and cold, right? So Leo needs that crowd just like the sun needs for us to like revolve around it. That polarity is Aquarius, which is that more austere energy that thinks about the others, like is thinking about like what's going on in the greater space without really that self awareness, right? So the element is fire, of course, that heat, that warmth, that like sunny energy, and that like magnetism. And then it's a fixed sign. So even though Leo is like very bombastic, it like stays true to the course, just like all the other fixed signs. Like you start it, you finish it. And as we'll see a little bit later when we talk about like Leo qualities, like loyalty is part of that, integrity is part of that, consistency is part of that. Like the sun will, it shines consistently. It doesn't wax and wane like the moon. It's always there. It's us who are moving away from it, right? But it's gonna keep shining until the very last. And then with all astrological signs, there is an anatomical correspondence, and with Leo, it's the heart, right? And in traditional Chinese medicine, the heart is the emperor of the body, and everything is like circulating around it, right? It's also the cell nucleus, and it's also the back, right? And like there's a lot of loyalty with Leo energy. Like Leo will have your back. And if we're feeling unloved and unsupported, or with a heartbreak, we'll like close in on that, right? And like good posture is a point of pride, right? You can tell that somebody's like proud and feeling good if they're standing up straight, right? Their back is in alignment and their heart is forward. Whereas like, a sunken posture has a connotation of like not feeling good, not feeling loved, maybe not feeling enough. But Leo feels enough. So it's that heart shine. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later and about how to align this anatomy with that energy. So yeah, and then also like the spine, the back, and then the thymus gland, right? It's right here over the heart. So that's easy to remember. And it's immunity, like it has our back, right? And then the thymus gland is bigger in childhood, and then in adolescence it starts to shrink, and like Leo is associated with that creative like childhood playful energy, so there's that correspondence there. All right, so some of the characteristics associated, let me not step on the dress of this, like of these Leo characteristics here. There we go. So Leo characteristics: visible, bright, magnetic, that creative energy. So it's not like the artistry that you'll see like with the Venusian signs or like with Libra, like a certain aesthetic. It's like creative, it's music, it's color, it's joy, right? It's life-giving energy. So again, energetic, charismatic, courageous. Like Leos are brave. It's that Gryffindor energy. Like a Leo will have your back, and like that loyalty is something so important to this sign. And that consistency, even though there's like dynamism and creativity, there's a consistency there. and the admirability, wholeheartedness, nostalgia, right? Because we're talking about like that childhood energy, that playful energy, and nostalgia is something that's such a big part of that. um Passionate, generous, right? Impressive. Like I'm sure that we all have like an impressive Leo person in our life who's just dazzling. um Leo energy is like it feels at home. It's some people will call it shamelessness, but it's just like it's being comfortable in your own skin, and it's also that like retroalimentación, like that feedback, right? That that we need to be seen in order to feel alive, right? So yeah, there's an ambitiousness, right? And think about that sun energy, like lighting up the sky for, like across this massive expanse. Dramatism, right? And that can be good or bad. Some of the more negative associations are like vanity or selfishness, like a self-centeredness, and there's that like gravitational pull, right? And we can think of the sun as that metaphor, like the cell nucleus is another part that's associated with Leo. So, it's all eyes on me. And then we've got to balance that with like giving back. Yeah, and it can be very like validation oriented or attention seeking. But we all need that. But again, like the balance is important in all of this. All right. So do this over here. I want to talk a little bit about things that we can do to enhance this energy, to like grow this energy in each of us, because it's so important. It's so important to like feel at home and to know that you are your own best home. To feel your, to feel that you belong somewhere, to feel seen and recognized. So the very first thing I want to say, and of course, like with the association of Leo and the cell nucleus, something that's so important is sun exposure to our mitochondrial health, right? The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. But like the best way to fuel that is through sunshine. So sun exposure. And of course, we want to be careful, like especially like during the cataclysmic climate changes that we're experiencing. And like the record high heat that we're experiencing. Like we don't want to, I'm not talking about like going out at 2 p.m. So this is going to be early morning sun exposure where you have both like the red and blue waves. It's also like waking up first thing in the morning and like going out and feeling alive and like connecting with nature. And that sun exposure impacts us and like gives us life on every level. So that's super important. And like we're all vitamin D efficient because we just don't spend enough time outside, and we're getting a lot more artificial light than we are natural light. But that natural light is really what we need, and not just in the eyes, but like on the skin, like everywhere. And then I talk a lot about like light hygiene and sleep hygiene, and this is a big part of it. Like living in the cycles of the sun is going to make life like longer. It's going to increase the quantity and the quality of our life here on this planet that like revolves around the sun. Another thing I want to talk about is those heart opening exercises, and like that postural awareness. And it's not just going to affect, it affects the whole body, and not just the chest and back, but like even the pelvic floor is going to be like, everything is going to be aligned with like better posture. So a simple thing to do is just like stand with your back against the wall, and then like let your, like kind of line everything up. You might have to go like forward or backward according to like how much you're packing in the back, but just create this like flat back, and then put your arms in a W, right? And then you can feel that opening, and then breathing into the heart is so beneficial for that. And like, if you're ever feeling like down on yourself, or you're ever feeling like this, there's all these like micro insults in life, or all of these points of like disconnection, or times that we don't feel seen. And you can, like, especially like with children, if we don't give them enough of that like life-giving attention, or like we're severing connections when we don't like feel them or see them, you can see this like closing in and protecting the heart. So like breathing into the heart, especially in moments of self-doubt, is so important. And then we were talking about the thymus before. So like, especially after adolescence, and for everybody, try not to jingle this too much, but thumping on this thymus is really going to improve like immunity, immunological health. And then another thing that we really want to do right now, and especially like in the world and the way it is practice courage, and like speak from the heart, and like live a heart-centered and a heart-focused life. It's the only way that we're going to survive. So yeah, be brave, have courage, and believe in yourself. All right. So these moons are really beautiful, as we talked about, like this balance between like Leo and Aquarius. So like Leo is seen by everyone and Aquarius sees everyone. So this full moon in Aquarius, coming up from the 31st of July to the 2nd of August, is a really great time to like think of that back and forth, and like think about community, and like think about like the greater population, and like your power, like your solar fueled power to impact that. Like there's always an exchange, like we're all connected, right? So like, it's bringing main character energy into into what the world needs. So that's a really great thing to like manifest at that time. And then that Leo new moon is going to be from the 14th to the 16th of August. And that's a wonderful time to like recharge your battery and like focus on self-love, and dig up those parts of yourself that you might feel are like unlovable and unworthy, and focus on that, and like give yourself some love and attention, and see and be seen. That's the message of these 2 moons coming up. All right, so whoops, let's go back. So here are some natural allies that work with Leo energy. And we've got some flowers. So sunflower, of course. And we've got like such really great nourishing oil coming from those sunflower seeds. And even just having like sunflowers around, it's that bright energy. It's also in like Yoruba traditions, it's that what goes around comes around energy. So that's that kind of magic. And if if you're looking to create some karma, or if you're trying to like repel a bad vibe, like sunflower is great to just be like, nah, that's not for me. Frankincense is of course associated with like royalty and luxury. It's also associated with the crown chakra, which is associated with the sun. Rosemary as well. Leo is that main, and rosemary has been proven time and time again to be more beneficial for hair growth than even like the pharmacological interventions that exist. And then Tulsi, or holy basil, or purple basil, or albahaca is also really wonderful and associated with that crown chakra, and also associated with like that wisdom, right? Because it's not just like living for the applause, it's also like being that warmth, like life-giving energy for yourself and for others. And then of course dandelion, so the tooth of the lion, which is my absolute favorite flower on earth. Like it's just the most like generous, abundant, beautiful, and that's the thing, like the dandelion is so persecuted and it just keeps showing up. It just keeps showing up and it doesn't care. Like it's here to help and it's here to heal, and like from the roots to the stems to the leaves to the flowers. And then it does like a costume change a couple of times. Like I love dandelion energy. And then lavender is also lovely for like calming down, being centered, being focused, and then also for that crown chakra. As are quartz and amethyst, like very healing crystals. And I love crystals because it's ancient, it's ancient energy, it's ancient concentration. They're like very old substances that contain a lot of the elemental power of our biosphere. So yeah, if you would like to reach out, if you want to know more about where Leo is in your chart, or if you want to chat about astrology, about wellness, or any of that, please reach out and let's talk about it. I'm Dr. Cassandra. Here's my information. I'm so glad you joined me here today. Enjoy this beautiful summer. And like, I hope everybody out there is feeling themselves. All right. Take care.